Did you know that 84% of Americans believe in God? Now, if you're an atheist like me, then this probably comes as no surprise. You think your faith, or maybe the faiths of your ancestors, has brought nothing but good into the world. You think it's been a force for positivity? But in today's video, we're going to talk about the dark side of faith. We're going to talk about how religion can cause harm, both on an individual level and even on a global scale. In fact, it was found that in 2021, an atheist was killed every 6 hours somewhere in the world for simply not believing in a God. This includes countries like Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. Remember, religious fundamentalists are individuals who interpret their holy texts literally. When a person or group takes their beliefs to such an extreme that they are willing to do things like murder, bomb, or torture other people, they believe that science cannot explain everything, and that there are things beyond our current understanding that can never be explained by science. For example, most Christians claim to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, but they don't love one another. Cults like Heaven's Gate, for example, are responsible for the deaths of many people. Many religious leaders use their position of power to take advantage of others, use their influence to control people, and sometimes even exploit them sexually or financially. This abuse of power has been going on for centuries, and it continues to this day. These cults prey on vulnerable people and often use manipulation and brainwashing to control them. Instead, they judge, hate, and condemn those who are different from them. Hypocrisy like this is what gives religion a bad name. It makes genuinely religious people look bad, and it provides atheists even more ammunition to use against them. After seeing the amazing images that the telescope was able to capture, many religious people came forward to say that this was proof that God exists. They argued that there was no way that such a complex machine could have been created without divine intervention. But the truth is that science can explain everything. It can explain how the universe began, how life evolved, and even how consciousness came to be. I'm simply pointing out some of the dark aspects of faith. Religion can be a good thing, but it can also be a very bad thing. It all depends on how you use it. If you're using it to control, manipulate, or harm others, then it's not a force for good in the world. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to share it with your friends. Also, feel free to follow me on social media. All of the things that we currently don't understand will eventually be explained by science. It's just a matter of time. Examples of religious extremism include the September 11th attacks, the Boston Marathon bombing, and the Orlando nightclub shooting. These extremists are often motivated by a desire to impose their religious beliefs on others. They believe that their way is the only right way and that everyone else should follow it. But this desire often leads them down a dark path. So, for example, if a group of Christian fundamentalists believes that the Bible says homosexuality is a sin, then they will live their lives based on this belief. They won't accept homosexuality under any circumstances. This type of thinking can lead to prejudice, discrimination, and even violence. The First Crusade called for the recapture of the Holy Land, and it resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Muslims, Jews, and other Christians. In fact, the Crusaders went on to conquer Jerusalem in 1099 and established the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which lasted for almost 2 centuries. And during this time, they persecuted and murdered countless Muslims, Jews, and other Christians. Not only did they do this in the name of God, but they believed they were actually doing God's work. In fact, it was until the 12th century that the Catholic Church began to criticize the violence of the Crusades. Even though the Crusades ended in 1291, they left a lasting impact on the world. They helped to create a climate of mistrust and hatred between religions that persists to this day. Additionally, the Crusades played a role in the colonization of the Middle East by European powers. This colonization led to the exploitation of the region's resources and the oppression of its people. Many people who are LGBTQ report facing harassment, verbal abuse, and even physical assault from religious fundamentalists. These people feel justified in their actions because they believe they are doing the work of God, and it's not just LGBTQ+ people who suffer at the hands of religious fundamentalists. Anyone who doesn't share their beliefs does. Many atheists and other religious minorities live in constant fear of religious fundamentalists. In these places, if you leave Islam, Christianity, or any other major religion, you could be put to death. And even in supposedly progressive liberal countries, atheists aren't safe either. For example, in 2018, an atheist billboard campaigner was shot in the head in Bulgaria. And in 2017, a Norwegian man was sentenced to 21 months in prison for burning a Quran. Stick around because some of these points might surprise you. Many atheists are considered outcasts by their own families and friends. When someone doesn't believe in a god, they're frequently ostracized and alienated. And when it comes to major world religions, the situation is no different. Throughout history, Christians, Muslims, and Jews have fought countless wars against each other, and even today, they remain divided. We have entire subreddits dedicated to hating certain religions. Take a look at the comment section of any video that discusses religion. What do you see? A bunch of people calling each other names, attacking each other's beliefs, and overall being extremely toxic. This is the reality we live in today, and it seems like it will continue to be our reality for many years to come. But what's also interesting is that there are over 30,000 different churches within the United States alone. You see, growing up with a strong sense of spirituality can be beneficial. Children who regularly attend church or other religious events tend to perform better in school, have stronger interpersonal relationships, and exhibit fewer behavioral problems. But it all depends on the child's relationship with their parents and their place of worship. See, one of the worst things about religion is that it tends to foster toxic family dynamics. For example, studies show that if you grow up in a very religious home where your parents use God to manipulate you, then it can lead to feelings of shame, fear, anxiety, and low self-esteem. On top of that, if you grow up in a cult-like environment where your parents are stringent, then it can lead to paranoia, a heightened state of alertness, dissociation, and eventually post-traumatic stress disorder. So with so many different faiths, beliefs, and sects, who is right? Which religion has the best track record for happiness, morality, and success? If you didn't already know, religion has been the cause of most of the wars, violence, and persecution throughout history. And this isn't just some conspiracy theory either. There's a massive amount of evidence to support this claim. For example, since the beginning of human history, Jews have faced violent persecution from Christians and Muslims, which continues to this day. During the Middle Ages, Christians persecuted and murdered thousands of Jews across Europe. More recently, Jewish people continue to face persecution at the hands of cults like the Westboro Baptist Church. The same goes for Muslims. They, too, have faced persecution from Christians and Jews for simply practicing their faith. In fact, in 2022 alone, there were over 1,000 anti-Muslim attacks in England and Wales, including the attempted bombings of 2 mosques. For many of you, the answer is obvious. Point number 1 is religious upbringing. Moving on to point number 2, we have religious persecution. But it's not just members of minority religions who suffer. From religious persecution, atheists do as well. Point number 3 is that religion causes division. It's no secret that religion often causes division among people. Number 4 is religious fundamentalism. Religious fundamentalism is another dark aspect of faith, because it can lead to extreme behaviors. Number 5 is religious extremism. You see, religious extremism is when religious fundamentalism goes too far. Number 6 is lack of scientific understanding. For many religious people, science and religion are seen as mutually exclusive. Number 7 is the Crusades and colonization. If you're not familiar with the Crusades, there were a series of religious wars sanctioned by the Latin Church in the medieval period. Number 8 is religious hypocrisy. Religious hypocrisy occurs when a person claims to be spiritual but fails to adhere to the teachings of their faith. Number 9 is religious cults. There are over 5,000 distinct religious cults worldwide. Some of these cults are relatively harmless, while others are hazardous. And finally, we have number 10, which is the abuse of power. Now, before I end this video, I want to make it clear that I'm not trying to bash religion. It's not my intention to do that.